Good afternoon. I am a chemist working for the CNRS at the University Paul Sabatier here in Toulouse. And today I'm going to talk about plastic pollution in the ocean. And I am first going to introduce you to the problematic. Then I am going to describe my collaboration with an NGO, the Expedition Seventh Continent. And then I am going to show you how we are using Mercator data and collaborating with Mercator. Plastic pollution is a worldwide problem, and I would say it is ecosystem-wide. And even if the plastic pollution in the ocean is emblematic, all ecosystems are concerned. And for example, rivers, lakes, and also inland, there are problems about plastic pollution. And the number of plastic debris in the environment is growing, and it is growing with the curve of plastic production that is exponential since its industrialization in the 50s. And now we are producing globally more than 300 millions of tons of plastic worldwide. It's about 8% of the production of oil that is engaged in the manufacturing of plastic. So this is a publication in Science from last year, and the author have estimated the plastic inputs in the ocean. They have identified the main source of plastic pollution, which is a bad management of municipal wastes, and plastic debris comes mainly from packaging items. In this paper, they have estimated the input country by country. So you see here a map of the inputs of plastic by country. And globally, it is estimated that 5 to 13 millions of tons of plastic enter the ocean annually. And it corresponds to 2 to 5% of the annual production. In this paper, they have made an estimation for the next 10 years, and we can see here the low, medium, and high curve. And let's have a look at the mid curve. It is estimated that in 10 years from now, this amount of plastic entering the ocean will be multiplied by a factor 10. And in the paper, it is explained that it is mostly due to the developing country that it will be consuming more and more plastic, and that they won't have the time to develop their recycling and collecting facilities. So how does plastic enter the ocean? It is estimated that about 20% of plastic debris enter directly into the ocean. That is to say that 80% of the marine debris come from the land. They are transported by the wind, but mostly by rivers and by wastewaters. And why bother about plastic pollution? There are environmental, economic, and societal impact, and today we are just going to discuss about the environmental impacts. In this paper, published in Nature 3 years ago, 10 renowned scientists in environmental sciences have published a paper with a title that draws the attention: Classify Plastic Waste as Hazardous. It is difficult to imagine that plastic could be hazardous, but it has an impact on the marine life, on the wildlife. First, because of ingestion. Animals are also imprisoned in the plastic debris, but plastic also transport along large distances potentially invasive species that can alter the ecosystem equilibrium, and they are transporting chemicals. So a few key points about plastic debris at the surface of the ocean. It concerns the lighter plastic debris, the one that float at sea. They are undergoing a slow degradation. They are transported over large distances, and they tend to accumulate in some areas of the ocean where they fragmentate into smaller and smaller pieces called the microplastic. So the plastic debris are accumulating in the subtropical gyre, so in the North Pacific and South Pacific, in the North and South Atlantic, and in the Indian Ocean. And those areas are called the seventh continent because they are very large areas, and it is not because you can walk on the continent. I will show you how it looks like. So in this map, you have a summary about all the in situ measurements that have been done so far over the past 30 years. You can see that the northern hemisphere has been much more surveyed than the southern one, and most of the work has been done by the American researcher. And here you have reported the plastic concentration at the surface of the ocean. It is expressed in pieces of kilometer square, and it is typically in the subtropical gyre about millions of pieces per kilometer square, or a few hundreds of thousands of pieces per kilometer square. And from all those in situ experiments, some scientists have estimated by modelization the total amount of plastic afloat worldwide. And the three models proposed so far are quite consistent, and it is estimated that there is about 100 to 200,000 tons of microplastic at sea. So let's summarize all the figures I've been giving you so far. To warn the public and especially the children about this plastic issue and find answers to stop this pollution. And there is a scientific program associated to this expedition I am in charge of. So in 2014, we went to the North Atlantic gyre to collect samples. It was a 3 weeks navigation, and we covered about 4,000 kilometers. In 2015, we've been again to the North Atlantic, and that was a 5-week navigation. And we had much more time to sample inside the gyre. So you can see that we were not really lost at sea because we were using Mercator forecast, even if the road of the boat seems strange. I will explain you what we did. So during those 5 weeks, we took some time for pedagogic stops, and we had a few actors with us, and they had a show for children, and they did the show to more than 900 children during a week. We spent a week together, and we were doing some conferences and checking the scientific equipment. And then we went for the campaign sampling. So mainly the campaign consists in collecting the plastic at sea. So this is how we are working with the Manta net, how we are filtering the water to collect the plastic. And there was 1 or 2 days of nice weather, so we took the maximum of picture when the weather was nice. So this is the Manta along the boat. And so this is a sailing boat. We are not working on an oceanographic boat. So most of the work consists in sampling and then in storing the sample in buffer and in refrigerator, and everything is analyzed back in the laboratory. So the scientific program gather about 15 laboratories, mostly French laboratories, but we have also international collaboration. And we want to map the pollution. That's what we are going to talk today. To characterize the marine system, the biologist will study the phytoplankton, the zooplankton. There is a physico-chemical characterization of the debris, so a study of those plastic, what kind of plastic it is, the state of oxidation. And we are developing techniques to identify the microscopic debris at the micrometric or nanometric scale. We are studying the plastisphere. It is the name of the biofilm that is developing on the plastic. And there are 4 laboratories involved in the study of the transport of pollutant by those plastic. So why were we interested in mapping the pollution? Because so far, plastic distribution in the ocean has only been discussed at a global scale. And in 2014, when we went in the North Atlantic, we saw that there was a large heterogeneity of plastic concentration. And we wanted to understand why there was those heterogeneity, and we decided to look at the mesoscale. So we had a daily routing. Day by day, we received information from Mercator Prevision Data. This is the file we received by email on the boat. And this is the Sea Surface 8 a map and current. So that indicate where we should go for the next sampling point. Here in this small movie, you've got sea level anomalies in the North Atlantic from April to July 2015. Oops, sorry. How it is working. And you can see when the boat went and for the sampling. So for sampling the plastic, we are using Manta net. We are filtering the water at the surface. The mesh size of the net is 300 microns. So we are collecting every piece that is bigger than 300 micron. So what looks like from the Manta net. So we are collecting in the Manta net some plastic that is mixed with the plankton. And the first step is to sort out all the plastic pieces. So for example, here what we get in May 2014, the 21 of May. So here you have the scale of the plastic in centimeters. So the microplastic are about 1 or 0.5 millimeter big. The Manta net mouse is 50 centimeters, so we could collect bigger pieces, but the only thing we are collecting on the Manta net are those small plastic resulting from the fragmentation of the items. And the concentration that day was 200,000 pieces of microplastic per kilometer square. So here is what we are doing right now. It is to establish the correlation between plastic concentration at the surface and altimetry data. So during those 3 weeks of sampling, we did 31 net tows and 31 inside the gyre. And we've been circling around 2 eddies, one cyclonic and one anticyclonic eddy, and we've been around and in the core of the eddy, and we are trying to see if there is a correlation between plastic concentration and those eddies. So this is the kind of data we are using, and we are trying to understand by looking at the current how those eddies, those small vortices, can untrap plastic and can transport them along the gyre. I thank you for your attention.